Showtime yet. Welcome to the Chronologically Gaming pre-show. It is on. Welcome to Chronologically Gaming, where we play every single video game in order of release. We played everything from 1971 until now. Where we are, you'll find out soon. Or if you've been tuning on the show, you know exactly what time it is. We play video games all over the world. Every console, no computer is left. Well, we try to play as many computers as possible, but we do handheld video games, arcade video games, every single video game. And your definition of video game might be different than other people's definitions of video games, but we try to play everything, even ones that may not be exactly video games. Good evening, Kun. Oh no, Brad, not a howdy, and I hope you're safe. Hope you don't get cut off in the middle of the show. I am originally from Texas and know all about tornado sirens and what you need to do. But stay safe. We are in for a really fun show tonight. If this pre-show tells you anything, this is a live show. It's nothing's pre-recorded. We just do it as is on the fly and play every single video game, game by game in order. Yeah, howdy, by the way. I got you. You got to watch Inside, where all our gaming takes place. Inside. We kind of do this pre-show as a sound check as well. With all the sound issues we've had in the past with Chronologically Gaming, it's good to know that everyone can hear me out there and also see that the stream's going smooth. We usually send this to Restream, and then Restream sends it to Twitch and YouTube at the same time. So everyone that's here watching from YouTube or watching from Twitch, either one, let me know how smooth it's coming in for you. Yes, we don't want anything to land near anyone for tornado-wise. We've already had our fair share where I am, and we're good. We don't need any more. Oh man, yeah, that's too bad. Oh, there it is, the Vectrex. I really just want to play a bunch more Vectrex games. Every time we get one, it brings a smile to my face. Just it's such a special console. There's nothing else that's like it out there. And still, there's really no one that's tried to do another Vectrex console since the release of this one. But this show is going to be a lot of fun. We don't have as many games that we're going to try to go through very, very fast. We're actually going to dive a little bit deeper in some of the games, play a little bit longer, and then let you know where we're at as far as video games and the context with everything else that's available out there. I really wish I had the Vectrex too. I never played an actual Vectrex until I was in my 30s. So I didn't experience the very first time when it came out. Oh yes, Christmas 82. That's where we are right now. We're in the holiday season of 1982. And we played every video game up to this point. We even in 1981 had kind of fun getting into the holiday spirit of the Christmas time in 1981 and all the video games that were coming out in December. And we've already seen some end of November video games, but right now there's so many games that are going to be released. And this is just the beginning of December 1982 where we are. There's going to be lots of games released during December, and then we do have some of the games that were released at some time in December. We don't know exactly when the release date was. And then we're going to see all the video games that were released at some time in 1982. So we still have lots of games to go before we close out the year. Maybe it'll give us a chance to catch up on the video games in the backlog, but video game after video game. We're the only ones doing it where every single game is going to be seen, showcased, played, or just an entire amalgamation of every single game that's out there. That's right, so many games. I wasn't even expecting all the games that we had on the show until I started to nitpick and say, well, I guess I should include this computer, and I guess I should include this system. Essentially, if I can get it to work or run on an emulator so I can play anything on it, then it goes in the show. Everything. I got a special treat for the backlog for home computer enthusiasts out there, so be sure to tune into that. Maybe it's a computer you weren't expecting. Oh, nice chiptune. Do it. All right, showtime. Hey, it's Chronologically Gaming, the only channel that's perpetually retro because we're playing every video game in order of release. But no one can play every single video game. Well, come on the live show and be a Chronologically Gaming influencer and watch us. Join me in the beginning of December 1982.
Most of us grew up with the voices of my first guest, Bugs Bunny, Porky Pig, Sylvester, Tweety Pie, Daffy Duck, Elmer Fudd, Yosemite Sam, Barney Rubble are just a few of the cartoon voices that this man has immortalized. It's a pleasure to welcome Mr. Mel Blanc. Mel, welcome.
That's not all, folks. We're here in the beginning of December 1982. Last time checking out Millipede on a couple home computers. Let's see where our gaming takes us now. It's Millipedes that's coming up next. That's right, plural video games. This game is pretty rare. All I have is some screenshots for it, so not a lot of artwork. Let's just pop it and play on disc. Millipedes. This is by designer software Bill Bogengrief. Bogengrief? Beginning of December 1982. Way to go, Bill. Hope I'm not mispronouncing that name. This shouldn't be confused with Real Millipede because that one was back in November 1982. Of course, after Centipede that we saw first in July 1981, and the only way to officially play Centipede right now is on the Atari home computer that we saw in June 1982. Oh, really nice. I've seen this font before on the Atari home computer, and you see they're mixing the colors around. Now, I'm pushing Option on my keyboard or on my computer, and I'm pushing Select on the computer, but it's not doing anything. Usually we have a play mode or something different, but yes, that's what I was hoping for too, Kun. Is this two-player multiplayer or something? But let's just go in. I'm going to push Start. Oh, okay, so we push Start, and now the option works, or Select works. Look at the top of the screen. It's not just one player. It's not just two-player. It's 3 and 4 player? Now I'm excited, but don't get too excited. This is not 4 player simultaneous Centipede or Millipede because even though it has 4 ports for 4 controllers on the Atari home computer, this one is arcade hot seat multiplayer. You're going to take turns, so it really doesn't matter if we do 4 people at a time. So let's go in. Let's push Start. All right, already getting used to the controls. Oh, it feels like a Centipede or Millipede. I'm going to play it a little bit more to see how close it is to Millipede compared to the others. Oh, I got to watch my button. If I push the option button, then it's going to add more people into the game. And we'll be taking turns. Sound effects are spot on, though. The way they pop the score up with the numbers is really nice. And movement's pretty smooth. So I have an Atari 2600 controller plugged in, you know, the old school one red button, one joystick. And it's responding fairly well and looks really good. Smooth for a home computer game. And they switched up the colors. They have constant flashing going on. Not the flashing that's going to cause seizures flashing, but a really nice nuance flashing for this one. So I'm already getting great vibes and having fun. If you're a fan of the game, it already feels really good to play. And controls really well, too. This is great. So this is another one of those unofficial released ports. I know we never really had a video game called Millipedes, but it's so close to the name of the actual game that, you know, you can tell they're ripping this off. You gotta love the home computer world right now of video games. Just wanting to get away with as many video games as possible. And we've seen so much at this point. This game is only available on the Atari home computer, and it's the 439th game we've seen so far. And it doesn't disappoint. This computer has some really good hits. And wait, do we wrap? Whoa, wait a second. I don't think I've seen that in a Centipede game yet. Whoa, it does. You go off the left side of the screen, and you wrap all the way around. I don't remember that being in the arcade when you played Millipede. I thought you were all on the same, yeah, you were all on the same screen whenever you played it. Maybe someone in the chat who is a Millipede master could correct me. But I'm pretty sure we didn't wrap around the side of the screen. That's a nice touch. What I'm looking for is the different enemy types, or the special enemy types that separates Millipede from Centipede. And I'm seeing a few of them, but I don't think I've seen all of them yet. This is great. Great fun for December 1982, and surprising too, because there's some of these games we find that don't have artwork, and it makes me feel like they don't have enough love for preservation, where if you can't find a lot of stuff online, it may not be a very good game. But no, this is great. And think about it. The only way to play official Centipede right now is on the Atari home computer, so you can compare that to that at this point. This is the second time we've seen Software Street or Designer Software or Bill Bogenreef. The second time we've seen them was, or the first time we saw them was Locomotion. And so if you've already seen the game Locomotion, not based on the arcade game Locomotion, it was essentially Centipede with trains. This game is like an upgrade. It's like he took the idea of playing around with a Centipede style game and said, we're going to make this really close to Centipede, or Millipede, if you will. Yeah, the sound is really close and sounds really good. Someone mentioned flash warning. Anyone that's watching this show needs to know that there's going to be flash warnings for almost every game that we play. The 4-player option is kind of cool. It's not the first time, though. This is the 199th 4-player video game that we've seen on Chronologically Gaming. And I don't mean all at the same time. I just mean the ability to play with 4 people. This is arcade hot seat only. So you have 4 players that are able to take turns as if you were in the arcade playing the game. This is the 45th time we've seen a video game that has that kind of play mode. 4 players where you're swapping out and taking turns. It's the 27th time we've seen it for all home computers so far. And a lot of them have been here on the Atari home computer because of those 4 ports that they have for joysticks. And so it's not particularly new, but we haven't seen that many games when you consider all the ones up to this point. We've seen games like Bust Out on the Coco that had 4 players taking turns like if you're in the arcade. Bug Battle on the Apple II did that. Raster Blaster on the Apple II. Casino Games on MS-DOS. Alien Invasion on the Commodore VIC-20. Frog Trek on the TRS-80 color computer. It was Frogger turned on its side. It was 4-player, but you're not playing all at the same time. You're taking turns. And then Tunnel Terror on the Apple II also was 4-player, and you took turns. So why did they do that? Why didn't they just do 2-player? Because I guess just to say I have a 4-player video game, maybe? And this one is only hot seat multiplayer arcade 4-player. It's the 12th time we've seen this kind of game mode on the Atari home computer. After Asteroids. Asteroids had a mode that you could play like an arcade, but you could also play at the same time. David's Midnight Magic on the Atari home computer has this game mode. Chicken and Slime by Synapse Software. Chopper Rescue has lots of game modes, including that one. Salmon Run had it. Hellcat Ace and Spitfire Ace, Night Mission Pinball, Plattermania, and Captain Cosmo all had the ability for let's have 4 people play, but let's not all play at the same time. Kind of unique. So I guess you could say this is the first time we've seen a Centipede style, or a variant of Centipede, that allows 4 people to take turns as if you're in the arcades. I'm digging this game. It's very well done, and when you think of the official Centipede that you could play on the Atari, this is pretty cool. The flashing lights also make it feel like it's in the arcade. And that's what a lot of people were going for. Let's make a video game that you can play on a home computer, but make you feel like you're in the arcade. It's great. So this one is just Vic Shooter. This one is move left, right, and fire, or just pretty much stay on this same screen and fire in one place. It's the 412th fixed shooter that we played so far on Chronologically Gaming, the 241st that we played on all home computers, and the 39th that we've seen on the Atari home computer so far. It's still using the insect theme that we've seen for video games, and it does include Turbo Fire, so it controls very similar to the arcade or Millipede. I don't get a lot of Millipede vibes. This feels more like Centipede, or it almost feels like Bill Bogenreef took his idea in Locomotion, what he did with trains, and then made it more like a classic Centipede variant for this one. I like that, Paul. Yes, Centipede Epilepsy version. And that's even the background. It's not just the mushrooms that are flashing. It's the background, too, giving you just a little bit of vibes for that. This one is the 37th variant of Centipede that we've seen on Chronologically Gaming. We do play a lot of Centipede. It's the 6th time that Centipede has been copied or cloned, not officially, on the Atari home computer. Games like Bug Attack, Mega Legs, Viper, Haunted Hill, and, of course, Locomotion. I would say of all the games we've seen up to this point, it's not as good as Mega Legs or Viper. Check out one of those two if you're wanting an even better version of Centipede. But then again, Mega Legs and Viper I would consider up there in the same realm as official Centipede on the Atari home computer. All right, so of all the games you could play across all home computers right now in December 1982, I know you're just seeing millipedes, but what would you give millipedes out of our 5-star rating? If you think this is broken, then you rate this somewhere around the 1-star range. If you think it's bad, out of all the games on all home computers, you'd rate this around the 2-star range. If you say this is about average for everything you can see up to this point, you rate it about the 3-star range. If you say this is above average or excellent, really good, that's a 4-star game. And if it's one of the best games you could play on all home computers right now in December 1982, you'd be up in the 5-star range. So I'm looking over the chat. I already got a 4 out there for all the games that you could see up to this point. I don't say it's as good as a 4 because that's more like Official Centipede or Mega Legs or Viper. It's pretty close though. So I'm looking over and see a 3.5. Brad seeing 3.5. Yeah, it is hard to score. Some of these are hard to score unless you play them yourself. It was very well done, and what we were really hoping for though was multiplayer, Centipede, but we really haven't seen a simultaneous multiplayer game. And I see a 3.5 or 4 from Kun, and then Ubicor's just saying 3. I'm gonna go 3.5. Of all the games you can see up to this point, it's an above average game, and there is better Centipede games to play, but it's still well done. All right, after that, let's see what our next game is. Now it's time to go to the arcade to play Minky Monkey. And be honest, if you're at the arcades and you saw an arcade cabinet called Minky Monkey, would you really play? Let's take a look at the advertisement flyer. We've already seen plenty of video games that are cashing in on Donkey Kong or having a monkey or an ape. Here's the advertisement flyer for Minky Monkey, and it shares it with some other ones. Woodpecker, which we've seen. We haven't seen Fire Dozer yet, but Minky Monkey's down there at the bottom. And you can see we're going to Japan to play this first. This one is only available in the arcades. It's the 604th game we've seen in the arcades so far. And at this point, when you say we're going to go to the arcades to play video games, a lot of times we see something original or new that gets ported to other systems. To my knowledge, this wasn't ported anywhere else. There's no other consoles or computers that have Minky Monkey games. So we better take in as much Minky Monkey as we can. There's a fabrication of the arcade cabinet. I don't have a real picture. I do have a real picture of the PCB on the inside. This one's kind of special. I don't know if you saw from the advertisement flyer. This one is the very first time we've seen a video game from Technos Japan Corporation. Also, first time Rollertron Corporation. And this is the very first time, I'll tell you in a sec about that. It's kind of special. The controls for this are pretty simple. It's a 4-way joystick and you have one jump button. There's the example of the arcade marquee. That's right. Is it a clown clone or is it a Donkey Kong clone? Let's see together. There's the example of the screenshot. Let's go to the arcades and play some Minky Monkey by Noriyuki Tomiyama. Technos Japan Corp. At the beginning of December 1982. This is the very first time we've seen any game developed by Noriyuki Tomiyama. He's going to go on to do Renegade, Super Dodgeball, and Nintendo World Cup for the Nintendo Entertainment System, or Famicom. We don't even know what that is right now. All right, so we look at the attract mode. Let's see if it explains how to play the game. It's going through bonuses. Complete 5 monkeys messages. Proceed to the next level. Failure to complete 5 messages. Lose a life. Yikes. Sounds like a task. Failure to complete. Does not comply. And then it's going to play a little bit for us. Minky Monkey is a fast arcade game where the character needs to complete tasks provided by a monkey. The game's played on a single screen with several platforms as well as multiple poles. It's possible to climb up and down these poles and move between them. A monkey at the top presents a task, for instance, like bring up a lemon. The player's character then needs to move towards the lemon that appears somewhere and bring it to the area marked with a white rectangle. Some tasks involve multiple items, and there's also an overall time limit, and the character's chased by different enemies that can also shoot you. Can we shoot them? No, we cannot. The enemies will move towards the items as well and make the task a failure. To progress to the next level, 5 tasks need to be completed before the time runs out. It does feel like it's a test of wits or something. After all the tasks are complete or the time runs out, otherwise your life is lost. Not all tasks need to be completed successfully right away. The top of the screen shows how many were a success and how many were failures. If there's 5 successful attempts before time runs out, the level is still won, no matter how many failures. New levels present more tasks, but each time a different level layout and enemies. All right, let's do some tasks in the arcade. Let's put a coin in. Ready, and hit it. Yeah, you've already seen the gameplay. It's the very first time we've seen a Donkey Kong Jr. variant, or someone ripping off Donkey Kong Jr., not just Donkey Kong. I'm ready. I'm controlling a... I actually can't describe what I'm controlling. Am I supposed to be a person or a toy? At the bottom of the screen, I can move and I can jump. I have... Ooh, I gotta dodge the attacks, but you just gotta follow at the top. Monkey says, bring down a lemon, you bring down a lemon. Why are we following and listening to the monkey? I don't know. All right, now we gotta bring up an apple. Oh, and we were supposed to bring up the other one, but the monkey destroyed it. Oh, if you fall off the side, then you die. I thought I was gonna pick up that drink and get a power-up, but it was just points. All right, bring up the... Oh, why did it fall down? Oh, I can't fall down either. I was trying to follow along what the monkey was doing. We've had 1 success and no failures. This game feels like I'm trapped in an experiment that a scientist is trying to run to see what my sanity will hold. So we've had 3 successes so far. It says bring up the lemon. Okay, let's get over to the other side. The way that the control works is it's actually seamless. Whenever you start playing it, you realize how easy it is to control because there's not a whole lot of nuance to the gameplay. Oh, can I get extra bonus points? No power-up. Let's see if I can bring it down. Oh, no. I don't have a defense, though. I can't do anything against the monkey that's chasing me. Oh, am I running out of time? Don't make the monkeys mad. What will happen if the monkeys get mad and I don't follow their tasks? Oh, is that what I am? Maybe I'm sunburnt and I'm just red. I need to put some sunblock on. So there's our time and bonus. The faster you complete the task for the monkeys, the more bonus points you get. Very surreal, because telling us we need to do something and we're being told to do something, part of me just doesn't seem as fun. If the video game didn't tell us that we have to do these tasks, I would feel more compelled to want to complete the game or see the next level. But because it's a monkey telling us what to do and then we have to follow what the monkey does, oh, I already had a game over? Darn. So if you look at the top right, that is the how many lives we have left. All right, let's go in again. I want to see if we can see more levels, because essentially it's just going to give us different tasks, and can we complete them fast enough and move on to the next level. I'm looking for something presentation-wise. Does it have cutscenes? Do we find out more story or lore? I guess we're not playing as Minky Monkey. The Minky Monkey is at the top of the screen. We do look monkeyish, though. Almost like a precursor to Alex Kidd, way before Alex Kidd. Uh-oh, he's going to take... Look at this monkey. He's going to take the lemon and eat the lemon, and then it ruins the task for us, so we can't do it. It's going to do the same for the apple, I bet, too. This means failure. Yes. All right, let's bring down this one. And he's going to go for the... he's going for the apple. So the monkey is ruining it, so we keep failing, and we have to do this fast enough before... In the top right, that timer that's going off, we have to do all this before the time goes out. So control-wise, for the 4-way joystick, feels great. Sound keeps music going, the whole time, which is kind of nice. I like that. Or a little beat happening in the background. Maybe that's also what it is. Monkey say, monkey do. Wait, isn't it monkey see, monkey do? So quaint and interesting, but if I saw the attract mode for this and already knew about Donkey Kong being out there, I could see this as a ripoff. I would know. They're just trying to rip off and cash in on the monkey craze that's going on. There's really popular animals in video games right now. Monkeys or apes are one. Frogs is another one, thanks to Frogger. But some other really popular animals that we see. Nope. Quickly, quickly. Barely. So we get the success and keep going. This one is the, what we call arcade platformers, which means it's all on one screen. You're able to move and jump around. It's the 66th arcade platformer we've seen so far on Chronologically Gaming. It's the 14th that we've seen in the arcade. After Donkey Kong Jr., Crazy Kong 1 and 2 we've also seen. We saw a game called Chaos. Oh, this is different. We have the weird thing at the top. And it's going to eat it again, that monkey. And there's nothing I can do about it. There's no power-up to remove him. We also saw Kangaroo in the arcades. The Joust is out there, which is phenomenal. Cubert, Dazzler, Ponpoco, and Springer are some other examples of arcade platformers that we've seen in the arcade so far. feels like it's following the same pattern. I just have to memorize the pattern. No, no. All right, let's see if this will work. I also feel very defenseless in this game compared to the other ones we've seen. Oh, I have a committed jump too. I can't make changes in the air. And I bet I can't touch that weird dragon at the top. Yeah, so right here, that's where I would say the fault is. Out of all the arcade platformers we played, even in the arcades, the jump right here, when the platforming got intense, it was a little loose, or I should say, very strict. Once I made the jump, I couldn't make any changes. It just said I had to go across, and it was a very simple jump. It was even simpler than something we've seen on consoles like Pickaxe Pete or Monkey Shines on the Magnavox Odyssey 2. That's kind of what it feels like. So everyone place your bets. Of all the video game characters or animals we've seen right now, who do you think's winning right now in the world of the most video games with monkeys or primates or frogs? Which one do you think is on top? Do you think we played more video games with monkeys in them right now, or more video games with frogs? I'll let the live chat put out what they think right now in December 1982 has been the most video games. Whoa, Brian, what's Castlevania? It's only December 1982. I can't even fathom what that is. Oh, I got one monkey, 2 frogs so far from the live chat of which animal's on top. There really isn't another animal that's even close to that, because we played one game with a tanuki or a the fox from Japan. Oh, he beat me. That Minky monkey. And then another monkey from... So right now, in the lead, but just barely, is monkeys or primates, because we played a lot more clones of the Donkey Kong games, and the Donkey Kong games usually keep a monkey at the top, but the Frogger games, the variants we played with frogs, usually switch it up. There's other things that are crossing the road or street that are not frogs. So, but it's really close. The war of which animal's on top is pretty close. Yeah, all those ports and clones, all those are count. So this still has that classic arcade gaming loop that we've seen since one of the beginnings of our arcadedom. And so I still feel like this is more of a chore of a game. I'm not having as much fun as I would with Donkey Kong Jr. or Donkey Kong. In fact, this game is having me question, why did I like Donkey Kong Jr. so much? Or what separates this? I guess because maybe the controls are just more simple. It doesn't feel as polished as the other games. At this point, we played 39 variants of Donkey Kong. 39 clones, copies of Donkey Kong. This is the very first Donkey Kong Jr. clone or copy of Donkey Kong Jr. And bear in mind, we have seen Donkey Kong Jr. on the Nintendo Game & Watch, which was pretty good for a handheld right now. It was using the split screen or the multi-screen display. Not split screen. Multi-screen display. So cool. Yep, see, I have no duck. I have no way to avoid the other monkeys. All right, so this is a tricky one. I'm already seeing Paul throwing out 2.5 to 3 stars of all the games you could play right now in the arcades. I feel like I've wasted my money, and I should have used this for something like Joust that's available in the arcades. But you can tell if you had an arcade that had everything, some of the really best golden age arcade games, this one wouldn't be as impressive. And it's that control. The control doesn't feel as polished as everything else we've seen so far. So it's an interesting idea or concept. Looking over in the chat, most people are saying 3. Pretty average for everything you could play in the arcade. It's not wowing most people. I see a 2.5 from Mike. James is saying 3 as well. Jeremiah is 3. M. Tiskey, 2.5. So still around the average range for everything you could say up to this point. I don't want to say above average for Minky Monkey. I would say, I don't even say, yeah, I'd definitely choose Donkey Kong Jr. over this for sure. Okay, so I'll still say 3 stars. It's still average for the games you would play in the arcades, but it's not doing anything special, I would say, to push it above 3.5 stars. It is multi-screen, or there's different screens and puzzles that you can go along with. And if more of a puzzle platformer, I mean, barely. I'm not even going to classify it as a puzzle platformer. If that's your thing, you might enjoy it more. All right, so after Minky Monkey, we leave Japan, and let's see what our next game is. it's next time to go home and play on the Arcadia 2001. This is Missile War. Here's the box for Missile War. After over 3,500 games that we've seen on Chronologically Gaming, we haven't played a game called Missile War? How is that possible? This is the very first time we played Missile War. This one is only available on the Emerson Arcadia 2001. It's the 33rd game we played for this home console. And this game is notable for being available in all regions for all the names of all the other consoles that are basically the same thing. This game is available on the Emerson, on the MPT-03, on the Palladium, on the Bandai, on the Hanimex, on the Tunex, and on the Schmid. You can see Missile War on all those systems. This is the 31st time we've seen Emerson Radio Corporation make a game, and the 30th game ported over by UA Limited. Check out this box. The front of the box is what we've seen for this home console because it's really hard to find games on this home console. I have not even seen this myself to play on any video game history, conventions, and so forth. So if anyone knows where I could actually play the Arcadia 2001, let me know. It's pretty rare. But check out the box. The front is the usual fabrication, but if you flip it over, look, an actual scan of the spine, and look at that, an actual scan of the back of the Arcadia 2001 video game cartridge. A one-player game, and it uses the left side controller. Thanks for letting us know, because sometimes you don't know which port the controller goes in. And down at the bottom it says, fun for the whole family. Remember that part. What other artwork do we have for Missile War? It is very rare, yeah. And another thing that's rare is the overlays, because it uses the number pad. There's the reconstructed back of the box. That's the one we usually see because we can't find a real scan for these games. They're really hard to come by. There's the system, the Arcadia 2001. It has a nubby little digital joystick, and then it has the number pad. It's not quite as sophisticated as the Intellivision. The Intellivision was using that disc that had even more movement. This one uses like an 8-way digital joystick down at the bottom, at least to my knowledge. There's the example of the cartridge. We love cartridges here on Chronologically Gaming. This one is, I believe, 6 kilopower. Is it 6 kilopower? I'm looking on... okay, it looks like it is, yeah, for the size of the cartridge. And besides that, we have an example of the screenshot, and feast your eyes. Here's the manual for Missile War. I think this is one of the very first times we have an actual scan of the Arcadia 2001 manual. Usually we have one from another region, or it's all in text. Look at that. This one's all in black and white. I think it still had color, like the watercolor for the original manual. So we have the general parts. There it is, the overlay. Look at that. So the controls are using the keypad. You're only going to use 2 buttons on the keypad, so you really don't need an overlay. You can figure it out. You have left launch and right launch. Slide that in over. That's right. Paul already called it, or someone else called it from the chat. It's like missile command. The object of the game is to obtain as many points as possible. Haven't heard that one before. You protect your cities. Yep, we know exactly what's going on. If you succeed in blowing up the enemy missiles or they fall harmlessly outside your cities, you'll be given time to restock your launchers with new missiles before the next attack. I'm curious to know how well this fares to the other missile command games. It explains how to start. This is a one-player only game. Only one player. Emerson Radio Corporation knows that you're a nerd and you have no friends, and you're going to play all by yourself. There's an example of what the screen looks like and how to play the game. Use the one joystick, and you have the 2 buttons on your number pad to shoot from the left side missile launcher or the right side. And they have a playing tip for us. Thanks so much for the tips. Explains right here. And then there's the scoring for how everything works. All right, simple. Now, here is what the manual usually looks like. This is what we're used to seeing, which is from another region, the MPT-03. And this is the name of the game, or cartridge number MG313 for Missile War. Oh, yeah, look at that. So this is what we're used to seeing. Nuclear warheads launched by your enemy are approaching. You have to defend your cities. We've heard that one too, yes. Same game objective, looks pretty much the same. This is so bizarre, seeing both manuals, because usually we only find one. And look at the example of the difference in the controller. Shaped differently, but it's essentially the same, same home console. All based around the Emerson Arcadia 2001. We say the Arcadia 2001 just because that's what it was called in North America. In other regions, it was called lots of different names. So if you're watching from other regions, you might say, hey, there it is, the Hanemex, whatever it was called. Because it's the same thing. It breaks down the score right here, and then they have the diagram at the end. All right, I think we got it. Let's pop in that cartridge and play Missile War. In the beginning of December 1982. I'm ready. I don't think we're ready for the sound, though. This sucker is going to get loud. I'll make sure we turn it down. All right, so for game options and variations, if I try different things, nothing really happens, and it didn't have anything in the manual. This is supposed to be like an Atari 2600 where you can make game options, but no. I'm just going to push start and go. Joystick works. Very rare to see. Oh, that's right. Nothing works. The side buttons don't work. I have to use the keypad. Keypad 7 and 9, or if you have your overlay. And you just have 2 bases to shoot from. But yes, it's a command variant. I guess we could have brought the volume up just a little bit because you can kind of make it out. But this one, the system is ear-screechingly loud. Wow. This is rough. All right, let me see if I can try a different game mode or no, there's nothing else. There's only one player. It's so simple. And it seems so archaic when we go from games that have lots of different game options to play. Adds up our number of cities we kept and then how many shots we have left. Yeah, so very close to Missile Command. We call these games command shooters. It's the 52nd command shooter that we've seen on Chronologically Gaming and the 9th that we've seen for home consoles. It's the very first command shooter that's been on the Arcadia 2001. So if you were stuck with this system and you didn't have an Atari, actually I shouldn't be shooting everything because it's only the ones that are going for the cities. Oh, they have the UFO too. Nice. Look how this chugs. It seems like I'm slowing down the system. But if you didn't have an Atari or any of the other home consoles we've seen with command shooters, and this was your only experience, I just feel very sad for you. This one is the 25th clone of Missile Command that we've seen so far. 25 games that we've seen that are basically exactly pretty close to Missile Command. On the Atari 2600 and the Atari 5200, official Missile Command is available. You can be playing those right now. And on the 5200, you can play with the trackball. Atlantis is available on the Atari 2600 and the Intellivision. And Atlantis 2 is out there. There's also a command shooter part in Tron Mazatron. This is just, no. What is going on here? And I've seen the game footage. There is these glitches, and it feels like it's just not programmed well. Yikes. That's rough. So it has an arcade gameplay loop. It has the crosshair that we move around, just like if we're going to play a Missile Command game. It has the theme of war. It had the explosion. I didn't see the end, though, or game over. It just had the big explosion on the screen. Most people that are watching the show, if you had the Atari 2600, you probably played Missile Command on that one. I played that one the most for all the other systems out there. So right now, since we've seen everything up to this point, I can honestly say this is not, I wouldn't say this is an average game. This is a bad game. But what's really terrible is on the Emerson Arcadia 2001, a lot of the games have no joystick control. So in a way, it feels great to move the joystick around and have a response without having to use the keypad. But it's still yikes. So looking over the chat, Obsidian Arcade's throwing out 2 stars, which means they're saying it's bad. Of all the games you could play across all home consoles right now in December 1982, 2 stars is bad. Let's see. Seeing lots of 2s out there. Brian saying 2 as well. Yeah, of all the games you could play. So I had high hopes for this. It should have been a win for the Arcadia 2001. The very first command shooter Missile Command game, it should have been great. But I'm going to have to concede. With everyone in the chat, Mike's going even lower. I see a 1.5 stars. I won't go as low as that, but I still say this game's bad. Of all the games you could play on all home consoles, right now, this is bad. 2 stars for Missile War. What's going to be next? Can we have something to redeem this home console? Well, I got you. Our very next release is on the Emerson Arcadia 2001. This is Monaco Grand Prix. I'm already excited from the name, Monaco Grand Prix. Let's check it out. This one is not to be confused with Monaco Grand Prix by Sega that we saw in the arcades in 1979. I'm sorry to disappoint you, but this is not that Monaco Grand Prix. In fact, that's the only time right now for all video games that we've seen that have Monaco Grand Prix as the title or similar in the title. There's the front of the fabrication of this box, because this is not even the real box. What I'm showing you right now is not even close to the real box, because this wasn't even available for the Emerson Arcadia 2001 in North America. This one, despite Missile War, which was available in all regions all over the world, this one was only available on the Palladium video computer game. That's right. This one is only for that system. It wasn't ported to any of the other variations of the Arcadia 2001. The 32nd time we've seen Emerson Radio Corp and ported by UA Limited the 31st time. So what's going to happen with this game then? Let's see if we have any other artwork for Monaco Grand Prix. It's an it calls it an enjoyable game for 2 players, at least on the back of the fabrication of the box. Remember, it's not real, not a real box. This one's so rare we couldn't find an actual scan for it. I want to include a screenshot from the game because this has 2 parts to it. It has a part everyone's familiar with racing games, but then it has something new, something fresh. And this is the map for the new thing, if we get that far. There's the example of the system. If you forgot what this Arcadia 2001 is, it's got a numpad. This one's only available for this system. And you can see by the manual, I don't have a scan for the manual. This is someone typed in the instructions, so I can't find the Palladium version of the manual. Has 2 custom game overlays with special key functions, and you need to know what the key functions are because the joystick does nothing in this game. If you move the joystick, it won't do a thing. It's all happening on the number pad. It's just terrible. It explains how to play Grand Prix de Monaco en français, and it has the scoring for the 2 players. You have to have a friend to play this game if you want to play for real. It has no artificial intelligence. 2 people competitively only can play this. When you start the game, you accelerate your car, it attains velocity, and you turn your car and you move around the track. After a number of laps or the number of time is done on the first part of the game, it then goes to another option or another type of game that's racing next. And then that's pretty much it. I'll let you read the manual at your own leisure. So let's go ahead and pop that cartridge in and see what Monaco Grand Prix is going to do. Is it going to be the winner of the Arcadia 2001? Is it the killer app that's going to save the system out of every other game we've seen and why it's falling behind in the console wars? Let's push start and go. Nope. This is the first screen that you see, and when I push start, both the cars are ramming into the wall. So I'm beginning the game with both cars, I believe, turned around the opposite direction, and I'm moving the joystick, and I have no control. And I have 2 joysticks plugged in. I have me and my imaginary friend, and we're both playing Monaco Grand Prix on the Palladium, and we start the game, and we're both moving our joysticks, and nothing happens. If you lost the overlay, you'd have to figure out which keys to use to move your car. That's your first experience with Monaco Grand Prix. This marks the 128th racing or driving game we've seen on Chronologically Gaming. It's the 32nd that we've seen on all home consoles so far, and it's the 2nd available on the Arcadia 2001. The other game we played was Auto Race, which was actually pretty cool. It was scrolling, or choppily scrolling around, and you're driving past the screen. This one takes a more classic approach. This is what we call arcade racing games, which means it takes place all on one screen. Think of games like Speed Race, or games that have just one screen top down and everything's happening on the same place. This is the 39th arcade racing game we've seen on Chronologically Gaming, and the 8th we've seen on home consoles, after Speedway on the RCA Studio 2, Indy 500 and Dodgem on the Atari 2600, Grand Prix on the Astrocade, Spin Out on the Philips Video Pack and Odyssey 2, and Head On the Enterton VC 4000. This is, honestly, there's not a lot of games that are like this, but let me explain how you play. Are you ready? You hold down the key to turn your car. And look, I think that's my car. Is it going backwards? I'll slow it down. All right, so here we go. Doesn't it look like I'm going backwards? It really looks like I am. I have to, gosh, the control's so bad. I have to hold down the right key. So I cannot tap the key. You have to hold it down to move. When enough time goes by, because we've been sitting so long in one screen, it now goes to this screen where you are now, you're scrolling. You're going through the track and you're trying to speed up to get to the opposite side before your partner does. And if you're looking at the screen like, what is going on? Why is it shaking so much? We've never really seen any video game on the Arcadia 2001 scroll. And if you think about it, there's very few games, even on the Atari 2600, that scroll. So I'm just controlling one car, trying to make it to the other side. But remember, the joystick isn't doing anything. I'm doing this all on the number pad, and I don't have fine-tuned controls. For a racing driving game, this is abysmal. This is just terrible. And even from this view, there might be an issue with the emulation of why we're getting the like the stuttering and the choppiness, but I think it's because we just don't have anything they're pushing the system too far. It shouldn't be able to do this. This is meant to be like a scrolling segment where you're moving, but actually I think it's just flip screen. It's just flipping from one to the other, where you're dodging obstacles. But wow, this racing experience is just terrible. And yes, why would you want to play a racing game with the keypad? There's a joystick right there. Use the joystick. And it just blows my mind that we've seen so many games on this home console that aren't using the joystick. It makes me want to go play more on the Atari 2600 because it works. Or even the ColecoVision with that giant knobby joystick. I'd rather be playing on that than have a keypad to play on the keypad. It's just weird and terrible at the same time. This one's controlled like most arcade racing games or the top-down racing games. It's relative control, so it's based on where the car is relatively facing. And this one is on a 4 kilobyte cartridge, 4 kilopower. Unlike the other one. Was the other one 6 kilobytes? I think it was a little bit... No, I think it was the same. Maybe I said it incorrectly. Missile War should have been a 4 kilobyte cartridge because this console is in the same spectrum as the Atari 2600. There it is. We get a game over screen. Game over. If I reset and go back to the first screen, I'm back playing again with my reversely controlled car. But I can't even play this fast. I can't even drive the car fast because let's say I want to tap like really quick on the number pad. It doesn't respond. I have to hold the number down to turn the car ever so slowly. So if I were to speed the car up, oh no, wait, no, speed up. Wait, did I? I've like stopped in my tracks. Come on, go. Any day now. Thank you. No, go. Turn around. There we go, go. Whoa. This reminds me of a game we saw on a home computer called Death Race 82. Not associated with the cool Death Race in the arcades. It had control that was like, I wouldn't say, maybe this is even worse, but it was really bad. For a racing game, this is bare minimum. I can't even, and think about it, we've played games that are racing games on home consoles that are amazing, like Turbo, that are trying to simulate a racing experience. This one is way into the other spectrum. This is so bad. This one is a variant of Grand Track 10, the 20th time we've seen any game that's like that. It's controlled with an automobile, and for the games that you could play on home consoles, this style of game, all on one screen, an arcade racing game, is actually still fresh, even though the idea was a really old, racing game idea for the arcades. This is still new, but the way this is executed is just terrible. Look at me, I'm just waiting for the timer to go away so we can go to the next game mode and torture ourselves with that. You also need a friend to play, but you're going to find a friend to play Monaco Grand Prix on the Arcadia 2001. I would rather play almost every other game I mentioned that is like this. I'd rather play Speedway on the RC Studio 2. I'd rather play Indy 500 and Dodge 'em on the Atari 2600. I'd rather play Grand Prix on the Astrocade or Spin Out on the Philips Video Pack or the Odyssey 2. So if I had my way, let's just kill it. Kill the game. No more Monaco Grand Prix. Yikes, I'm so scared. Of all the games you could play on all home consoles, this is broken. This would be in the broken range. Now, you could decide if you think this is broken like a half star or broken like a 1 star. To tell you the truth, because it's using 2 different modes and screens, and because it's possible that the emulation isn't accurate. It isn't perfectly emulating the experience. I'm going to be a little more kind. I like that they're trying not to keep you all on one screen. They're actually giving you more than that. So I'm thinking 1.5 stars. I'm looking over in the chat and I see, yes, Sisters of Mercy would rather play Edition on the Commodore 64. That actually sounds more fun. It does. M. Tisky saying 1.5. Mike and Jeremiah got 1 star. Ooh, a 1/2 star from Sisters of Mercy. Yes. Yes, you won't have friends for very long if you do play this one. Yes. Notice that we didn't have anybody on the show tonight. I don't want to bring guests on and play these games. I'm just going to keep them to myself. Tuck them away and don't tell anyone that we played Monaco Grand Prix on the Emerson Arcadia 2001, or the Palladium, because that's where it really was from. Yes, Math Grand Prix. That's a good point. Compare this to Math Grand Prix on the Atari 2600. All right, so this is where we got to put our video game playing on pause. Thank you so much again, everyone that's here for the live show, watching me torture myself, playing every single video game, even the ones you never wanted to see. Well, next time on Chronologically Gaming, we have Car Driving Mania on the Commodore 64. And Nellen is thirsty? We will also munch on the ZX Spectrum, and it's that classic cat and mouse game on the Philips Video Pack. That's it for today, and like I always say, even in the arcade, Donkey Kong Jr. is not safe from the video game variant. Hey everybody, thanks for checking out the channel and joining me on my quest to play every single video game in order of release. We'll be streaming live every weekday at 9 p.m. Central, so join us and let us know if we missed any games along the way. This video would not be possible without Launchbox, RetroArch, and MAME. Tell all your friends there's some crazy guy named Chronologically Gaming trying to play every single video game. We have links down below that'll send you to places like our Discord and Patreon, and one that says all the video games we've ever played. If you go there, it's a list of everything, and you can click right to the game you want to see. Chronologically Gaming is the name to look for. We are perpetually retro, and we will catch you next time.